Happy Halloween, everyone. I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen. And welcome to another edition of Wolfkeen Talks. Now, I know what you're about to ask. Wolfkeen, why are you wearing Random Bum's outfit? Well, as embarrassing as it might sound, I didn't have a costume for Halloween this year. So instead of, just going through the similar outfit I did last year, I decided I would borrow Random Bum's outfit and wear that for Halloween. I'm pretty sure he's okay with it. I mean, I didn't exactly tell him I borrowed this outfit, but I'm pretty sure he's okay with it. Anyways, this is another edition of Wolfkeen Talks. Now, god damn it. Sorry, allergies. Now, today on Wolfkeen Talks, I was talking about a subject in my live stream. I was doing a live stream of Battlefield 4. So, I got into this subject about DLC and Day 1 patches. Now, I know what some people will say, that DLC and Day 1 patches are nothing too serious and stuff like that, and it's a very tame subject. While that is true in most cases, DLC and Day 1 patches find a way to piss me off in some cases. First, let's talk about the latter, Day 1 patches. Here's one thing that I made out. I understand that, games need patches. They need to be patched in order for them to fix stuff in the game, and in order for them to do certain things for the game. So they have to patch it. But here's my question. Why is it that there's always a Day 1 patch for most games? And you can't say no on that one. Every game that's been released so far has had a Day 1 patch. I mean, if the game, if the game is not out yet, then why is there a patch for the game already? Can't you just put the patch into the game? I mean, if you were working on this patch beforehand and you knew that it was going to be a necessity for you to play the game, then why not put the patch into the game so we don't have to go through the download process of having to go through the patch? And remember, some of these Day 1 patches, some are small, some are large. And this could be annoying because, people, when they buy a new game, they want to get straight into the game and they want to get straight into the action. But these Day 1 patches just prevent us from getting right into the game, and we have to wait an additional 5 to 10 minutes while this patch is downloading. Well, I understand this is a necessity at times, Day 1 patches, but no. I mean, I know people are going to say, oh, they have to do that. Understandable in some cases. Like, if the game's already out and they release a patch on Day 1, maybe I can understand that, but no. I can't agree with certain patch ideas. Like, if the game's not even out yet and there's already a patch available, why not just put the patch in the game instead of just telling us, oh, you do it yourself? And here's a good example of something that doesn't even need a Day 1 patch. The freaking PS4 and the Xbox One. Apparently, PS4, in order for it to use most of its features, you have to do a Day 1 patch. The console ain't out yet. You could put all these, you could probably put some of this stuff into the console right now instead of making us patch it. I'm pretty sure they got time to do this. And then we got the Xbox One, which, they got rid of the always online DRM, the used game policy. But they said this, if you want to get rid of that stuff, you have to download a Day 1 patch. Can't they just install the patch themselves into the Xbox One instead of making us do it? I mean, remember what I said? Not everyone has an internet connection for their Xbox One or PS4. So these Day 1 patches aren't really going to be, accessible to those people. I mean, that means in order for them to get the full-blown access of their console, they would have to not only connect to the internet if they have a connection, they would have to download the patch, which would take a while, because we know how long these console patches can take. So, I really don't, Day 1 patches bug me a little bit. They're nothing serious, though. Now let's move on to DLC, which I have a lot of things to say about DLC. The thing about DLC is that, sorry about that, my camera went off for a second. Anyways, I have a lot to say about DLC, and I may be entering rant territory, so be warned. Some people say DLC is not a lucrative business. Some people say, it's a very bad business because why should we pay more money for a game that we've already paid $60 for? While this is agreeable in some cases, in other cases, it's not agreeable. Let me say it this way. DLC adds life to the game. So this way, you can continue playing this game long after you've finished it. Like, for instance, a good example is the Fallout and Elder Scrolls series. We beat the game, we're still doing side quests. We've pretty much done all the side quests. We need something new to keep us going. Oh, here comes the DLC. And there you go. The DLC not only helps extend the life of the game, but adds new things to explore, new weapons to see, and new quests to partake in, thus adding more life to the game. How about other games that add a couple of other things? How about map packs for multiplayer-based games? If you're into certain multiplayer-based games like Call of Duty and Battlefield 3, these multiplayer maps will add a new spin to the game. Get me? This will add a new spin to the game, allowing us to enjoy the game a little bit more. Because guess what? We got 4 more maps to enjoy, some new weapons to enjoy, and some new, strategies to start forming. Because now we've actually got more. We got more maps to deal with. And plus, if you play Battlefield 3 like I have, you would know that every DLC they add a new mode. In one DLC they added Domination. In another DLC they added Gunmaster. I think Domination and Gunmaster was the same DLC. In another DLC, they added Scavenger, and in another DLC, they added, they didn't really, I don't think they added anything. I think they just made they added these large-scale maps. But that's what I'm trying to say. DLC extends the life of a game and allows us to further enjoy the game than, the vanilla version. This is understandable because DLC helps extend the life of a game. Expansions, help extend the life of the game. Look at Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. If you've played through the entire game of Dragon's Dogma, you'll be like, this was a fun experience. But then when the expansion pack comes out, you'll be like, oh, I could bring my character from the original Dragon's Dogma into this one. Cool. I get to keep leveling up my character. Or how about Dead Island Riptide? You played enough Dead Island Riptide and you made it to level 50. Go into Dead Island Riptide, you could take your character over there and continue going. See, that's what I'm trying to say. DLC and expansion packs are good for most things. But I will have to here's where I'm going to enter the rant territory. Some DLC are not lucrative. Well, some DLC are just not very lucrative. Let me explain on this situation. Let's say this. I bought Mass Effect 3 for $60. I popped it in. I did my day 1 patch, only to find out that there's a day 1 DLC for a new character, 30 minutes of gameplay, and one of the best weapons in the game. And the worst part of it all is that this character actually plays an important role in the story. You know which DLC I'm talking about, the Prothean DLC. I'm sorry, guys, but I understand making DLC later down the game's life, but if the DLC is already available, why not just give us why not just give that to us? We're already paying $60 for your game. Remember, not all games are worth $60, have the lifetime for $60, or just fully not worth it. So why are you going to try to nickel and dime us on day 1? Because here's the thing. Mass Effect 3 had 2 day 1 DLC for 2 characters and 2 other stuff. That's $80 that we're going to be paying for these 2 DLC and Mass Effect 3. That's $80 to get the full experience on day 1 from start to finish. Now that is right bullshit, if you ask my honest opinion. I'm sorry to say, but I find that to be BS in some cases. Why would you put day 1 DLC and it's important DLC, being the fact that Javik, I think his name, for the Prothean DLC, is supposed to play an important role in the story, being the fact that he's he's a Prothean. If you played the Mass Effect series, you would know the Protheans are extinct. So for you to have a Prothean on your team, this would add more to the story. There's been other cases of this as well. Or there's been cases of DLC which is complete and utter crap. Here's an example of DLC that's complete and utter crap. Operation Raccoon City. That game cost me $70 because I bought the special edition. On the front of the normal cases, it said free Spec Ops DLC. When I heard this, I was like, cool, we'll get an extra story that we can check out. And people say that the Spec Ops DLC is actually really good. But then Capcom does this. They promised us the free Spec Ops DLC only to give us a single mission. They give us one mission to mess around with, and if we want the rest of the Spec Ops DLC, we have to pay $5 for 5 chapters, and then $5 more for 5 extra chapters. So altogether, that's $10 we're going to be wasting on DLC. And you want to know the worst part of it all? You want to know the worst part of it all? Apparently, the Spec Ops DLC is necessary to understand the story further. Again, this runs right into the same thing I was making about Mass Effect. If this DLC is necessary, then why did you not put it in the game on day one? And before people say, oh no, Capcom made that DLC. No, they didn't. That DLC was already on the freaking disc. I'm sorry to say, but that DLC was already on the freaking disc. People hacked Operation Raccoon City and found out that the Spec Ops DLC is already on the disc. You have to pay $10 to unlock all the missions. So that DLC was ready day one. And what did Capcom do? Instead of letting us have it because we already supported their game, considering how bad the game is, they nickeled and dimed us. And I'm not done. There's other companies that are not safe from this too, but Capcom is the biggest offender of this. Because we all know how big of a problem Capcom is with their DLC practices. How about Resident Evil 6? They told us that Resident Evil 6 had disc-locked content. And they said it would be free. What happened? They nickeled and dimed us yet again, and they want us to pay actual money for the DLC in Resident Evil 6. The extra modes, the extra maps, all that. To that I say, no. You promise us one thing, and then you give us the entirely different thing. It's the same thing with Peter Molyneux and the Fable series. You give us promises, and then you don't fulfill them. Do you know how pissed off you get the fans this way? Capcom has lost a lot of supporters and faith within the fans because of their DLC practices. Hell, other companies have also done bull DLC practices. How about the online passes problem? EA for the longest tried to promote this online pass thing, where if you want to play online, you need an online pass. While this is understandable, like you want to prevent piracy and stuff like that, but how does this work with people that want to rent a game? Think about it. People who have Redbox, Gamefly, or a local game rental store. I used to have one in the area before something happened. But basically, what if a person wanted to rent a game to try it out? Like, let me put it this way. Say I wanted to rent Call of Duty Ghosts before I actually bought it. I rent a game, I play the story, I play a bit of multiplayer, then I could say, is this game worth my money, or should I pass on it? Back in 2012 and 2011 with EA, when you rented a game, you didn't get the online pass. So all you got was the story. If you wanted to play multiplayer, you had to chip in $10 to get the online pass. I'm sorry, but that's bullcrap. You're restricting us from playing a certain part of the game if we buy the game used. Okay, sure, you buy the game new, you get the pass. But what if we don't have the money to buy the game new? I mean, not everyone is rolling out the Benjamins to buy games brand new all the time. I mean, I don't buy every single game that comes out. I only buy certain games. And even then, that breaks into my wallet because of how expensive these games are. This is why I buy most of my games used. Because, one, it's cheaper. Two, I don't have to, and two, I don't have to deal with some of the problems. Yes, used games can have damage to them, but not all the time. And GameStop doesn't accept damaged discs all the time. And plus, if the used game doesn't work, I can just bring it back to GameStop. here's the problem. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if you add online passes to your game, you're just gonna piss people off because no one's gonna want your game. No one's gonna want to buy your game used unless they get an online pass because you're gonna have to pay $10 to get an online pass. And I find that to be right bullshit. That's another. But lucky for us, EA has backed off of the online passes idea, and they have actually given us free DLC. Some free DLC. I'm not saying a lot. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, at least companies can learn their mistakes, but I still have no faith in Capcom when it comes to DLC. And let me say this right now to all companies that think about having day one DLC. If you're gonna put day one DLC, either make it reasonable or give it to us. Do not try to nickel and dime us for extra money just to try to get more money out of us. Do not try to be like, oh, here's the $60 game, and if you want to understand the story a little bit more, here's a $15 DLC. No! 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 Don't do that. I'm being brutally honest here. Do not do that. If you do that, you're going to lose faith in the fans, and you're going to lose a lot of favor. I've seen a lot of games pull this stunt. Especially DLCing stories that are important to the game, or DLCing the ending, a la Azura's Wrath. I'm sorry to say, but do not DLC things that are going to be necessary to the game on day one. And do not DLC endings and stuff like that. I understand you want to add DLC to extend the life of a game, but don't you dare try to make DLC that is necessary for the game in order for you to understand it, or is necessary for you to actually enjoy it. Another good example of this is Metro Last Light. I wanted to talk about this earlier, but Metro Last Light is another good example. What's the way that everybody wants to play Metro Last Light? Ranger difficulty. Because you have no HUD, limited ammo, you die quickly, it's survival. So, Ranger mode is the difficulty everybody wants to play for Metro Last Light. And you want to know what they did? They made it a $5 DLC. A DLC difficulty that's bullcrap. It's like if Naughty Dog made the Survivor difficulty in the Last of Us DLC. It's like it's like the designers of BioShock Infinite if they made the 1999 difficulty DLC only. How would you like that if they were DLCing the mode it's supposed to be played on? You would be pissed. How would you like that? They DLC'd the mode that people want to play the game on. They DLC'd the hardest difficulty. Max Payne 3 old school difficulty. DLC'd. Freaking, why would you do that? That's what I mean. I do agree that DLC can be a bit bullshit at times, but I do agree on the fact that DLC extends the life of the game. But I'm not going to willingly follow DLC to the ends of time. If the DLC is bullshit, I'm going to call it out. And that's really all I have to say about DLC and day one patches. So, let me ask you guys a question. What are your thoughts on DLC and day one patches? Do you believe DLC extends the life of a game? Do you think it adds to the game? Or do you think DLC is a practice that needs to die? Same thing with day one patches. Do you think developers should be making us patch the game on day one? Or should they be doing it themselves since, they have this readily available? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, now it's time for some updates. This weekend I'm only going to be uploading Dark Souls again because I haven't recorded any Fallout or Tekken Revolution. I will be recording more Tekken Revolution and Fallout in the following weeks though. Also, this weekend I will be uploading my Goodbye to Black Ops 2 video. As you may have saw last week, I uploaded my Goodbye to Battlefield 3 video in preparation for Battlefield 4. Well, I'm uploading my Goodbye to Black Ops 2 video in preparation for Call of Duty Ghosts. Yes, as you know, I am picking up Call of Duty Ghosts. If you want to see what I've been doing lately, I've been live streaming a lot lately. I bought Battlefield 4, and I've been live streaming the ever-living heck out of it. So if you want to see me play some Battlefield 4, I'll leave a link to my live stream below, so this way you can actually come check me out and come watch me play Battlefield, talk with me and other stuff like that, or bring up subjects to my attention. And don't be afraid to comment, guys. I mean, honestly, don't be afraid to comment with your thoughts and opinions. If you have a different opinion than mine, fine. I'm not going to judge you, and I'm not going to go against you. Everybody has their own opinion to a certain subject, so don't be afraid to comment and think like, oh, this guy has a different a different opinion than me. Block! I'm not going to do that. I don't block people unless they deserve it. And that's being honest. I have never blocked anyone. That's being honest. No one has pissed me off enough to be blocked. I don't block people out of spite. I don't block people because they have a different opinion than me. I don't block people just because. I give everyone a chance to bring up their opinion. And plus, if you have a different opinion than me, maybe you can make me see your point of view. So maybe I can understand why you don't like certain things. I tell people all the time, your opinion is your own. I can't make you change your opinion. Well, anyways, guys, not much for me to say. Thank you all for watching. This has been the Halloween edition of Wolfkeen Talks. I was about to say Wolf's Word. So, guys, until next time, I'm Keenan47, aka Wolfkeen, and this has been a Wolf... I said it again. And this has been Wolfkeen Talks. So until next time, take care. Random Bum?
Wolfkeen! How dare you steal my outfit?
Oops. Well,